You also known as Duck Corella?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of made intent to
You
criminate.
got any business?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of intent to criminate.
You have any profession?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of made intent
You have
to
any
criminate.
occupation?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of made intent
Are
to
you a
criminate.
known racketeer?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of made intent to criminate.
Officer named Winkleman of the Elizabeth
You ever
Police.
get any money from Costello?
No.
And did you ever get any money from Meyer Lansky?
I never got money from any of those fellas.
None of those
None
fellas?
of those fellas. None of these that I've been reading about, or none that I knew. They never gave me anything.
None of the...
Hey, folks, welcome to the Smoke Show. Got Jason here with me, and we got a couple other smokers that should join us here shortly. But tonight, Jason, we're going to talk about something a little different: Hasselback potatoes. Have you heard of these before we brought this up?
First time hearing about it. Never heard it.
Let's take a look at it. I believe they were invented out of Norway. Not that it was a real crafty invention, but what it is that you take a potato that you're going to bake, you scrub it, and you slice it down. Now you can slice it thin. If you can see the photograph that I've got up now that I'm sharing, you can slice it thin. You can slice it a little thicker. There's really no rhyme or reason. It's personal preference of what you're going to do with it, but you can bake it. There's also a method of putting together a wash with olive oil. You can just crisp the skin up and eat it. But there's some interesting ways to do it. I like it because it's what am I trying to say? It offers a lot of opportunities, whether you want to put like beef brisket on it, or if you wanted to go with a cheese sauce, anything on it. Once the potato comes out of the off the smoker, or you can even bake it. I mean, if you want to be that way. But I think smoking it especially opens up the surface area that I think you get a good smoky flavor in on the potato with a crisp skin. And that seems pretty intriguing to me. We've got, we may have to split this up over 2 weeks. We've got some, Bruce has done one that looks really good that I don't want to skip over. I want to absolutely do it. Vet did one. We've got a video on that. When he gets in here, we'll start running that down through. But folks, the comments are open too. If you want to make any comments or give us your tips or techniques, we'd love to hear them on this. But tonight we're going to talk about Hasselback potatoes and macaroni, smoked macaroni from Jason. Jason, was that you did that for this week, right? The smoked macaroni.
Yeah, I did it on Thursday, I believe.
Had you ever smoked it before? Or was this your first attempt?
No, I've done it before. It's one of my, honestly, one of my favorites.
So it's a go-to?
Yeah, it's really easy to do and fairly inexpensive. It's good.
Man, I'm having some issues here. Give me a second. My guys aren't saying they've got the StreamYard. Again, they didn't because I didn't send it. So maybe that's why they're not in here. We're going to waste some more time here before give them a chance to get in. Did I say waste time? I didn't mean waste time. We're going to have a discussion about Hasselback potato, or no, macaroni and cheese. Where did you come up with the idea?
Honestly, I stumbled across it online. I was looking at, I think it was Heath Riles was his name, and he made this smoked mac and cheese, and I've done it probably 3 times now, and I've changed it up the last couple. And if you try it, it's not like Kraft macaroni. It's very good.
So what, you just pull the recipe offline? You just went to the Google and that's how you did it, or did you?
So I started, then I kind of made it my own.
What changes did you make?
The types of cheese I used, the length of smoke time, adding bacon to it. The first time I did it, I think I added brisket or steak, one of the two. I can't remember what it was, but I've found that bacon's probably the best. And then adding hot sauce to it, just to spice it up a little bit, changing the seasoning, and yeah, it's, if you haven't done it, you should try it. It's
okay. John Cox has joined us along with Vet LT3. Vet LT3's got some Hasselback potatoes we're going to be talking about. Big Ron's got a menagerie of dishes that we're going to talk about. We're going to do that old-fashioned style. I don't have a video on that, but I'm going to bring that up. I'm actually very curious to what Big Ron's done. But welcome, guys.
Hey there. I smoked hamburger helper tonight.
Well, it is an economic favorite.
I can't remember the last time I had a hamburger helper.
Well, it just says you're making too much money, Big Ron, because I can tell you what it tastes like.
That's a fact.
Well, you know, back in the day, it was hamburger helper, ramen noodles, and how we even went as far as making mashed potatoes and using tomato soup as gravy and not even putting milk in it. Been there, done that.
Yes. Wasn't any Hasselback potatoes and shrimp back in the day, were there?
Oh no. You know, there was a point, man. It was so bad in my life. My in-laws actually drove down from Iowa when we lived in Oklahoma and brought us down a cooler full of shit just because back then it was so tight.
Nah, brother, I feel you. Vet, you with us?
Yeah, what I was going to say is I remember growing up as a kid and it was so tight we had sugar on toast. Just butter and some sugar and toast.
Yeah.
Yep.
We call that cinnamon toast.
Yep.
Yeah,
I had...
cinnamon though.
Oh well.
Cinnamon was optional if you had it or not.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people that know people that were in the military realize how hard a lot of us had it. You know, they all think that we're, I guess, highly paid and have a lot of money. Hell, I remember when I was going to A school in California, I was literally eating ramen 3 times a day. That way there was enough money from my BAH and BAS for Bonnie and Billy to be able to eat at home and pay the rent and lights and everything else.
Ron,
Yeah, most enlisted qualify for food stamps, I think, until you're almost E5. And if you have a couple of kids, I think maybe even further than that.
We were like, I think Bonnie told me, because we applied for it at the time, and we were like $1 over the amount. It was fucking ridiculous. In fact, when she did DHS here in the States, when we got back to Florida, and she would come across people that were a couple of dollars over, she would purposely go through and try to rework the numbers and help them out because of it happened to us when we were younger.
Yeah, man, just delete $1. What's that dollar going to do?
You'd be amazed of how many people are just, that job was doing mental damage to her, bad mental damage to her. People would call in, and you can only get called a cunt and a bitch so many times a day because you won't do what they want.
Wow, no, that's pretty rough.
Yeah,
it's not a job that I would be able to maintain.
No, not even a
I'd
little.
either walk or they'd fire me, one of the two, but I couldn't take that too many times.
Hey Ron, you can tell me. My uncle told me that he will never eat another Navy bean ever again, and do not put it in front of him. I know what they are, but is that something they served every day on a ship?
When was he in the Navy? I never ate a lot of Navy beans in the Navy. And by a lot, I don't think I ever saw one.
I think the early 60s to 65. 60s.
Yeah, that would make sense. That's Vietnam time frame. That they were probably doing a lot of beans and stuff. My big thing when I was in the Navy, especially on the ship, when I was in Japan, we had a thing there with the Filipino mafia. Have you guys ever heard of the Filipino mafia?
I've heard Chinese mafia.
Yeah, Chinese mafia. So there was a thing in the Navy where it's called the Filipino mafia, where all the Filipinos would try to get home ported or homestead in Japan because they were close to the Philippines. That way, when they retired, they were close to home, or when it came time for leave, it wasn't too bad for them to fly from Japan to the Philippines. And it had gotten so bad that there was a nav admin that came out. It's actually how I ended up in Japan. There was a nav admin that came out in 2005, I think it was, or 2004, that said that you can only do two consecutive overseas tours or a COT before you had to rotate back to the States for one continuous tour, and then you could go back again. And the purpose of that was to break up the Filipino mafia. It was so bad over there in Japan that you could not do anything without going through somebody who knew somebody. The supply system was all Filipino. All the mess guys, all the food people were all Filipino. Everything was Filipino. In fact, it was so bad on the Kitty Hawk, aft galley every day, lumpia, pancit, and adobo. Every day you were going to have that with rice. That is what the aft galley served because that's what they wanted. And once they broke that up, we started to get some better foods in there. But I actually I love lumpia, pancit, and adobo. It's one of my favorite foods.
Well, don't they have like a food court, McDonald's on aircraft carriers now?
What? I don't know what fucking aircraft carrier they're talking about. Hell
Yeah,
no.
man, I know I've heard that they actually had a McDonald's on board one of these aircraft carriers. I'm pretty sure they did.
Actually,
There was. Go ahead, John.
I watched that Fluctus YouTube channel, and they
Right.
were actually showing something like that not long ago.
So the 3 aircraft carriers that I was on. So we'll start off with the oldest, the Kitty Hawk. The aft mess deck was like your quick stuff.
That was a rowboat, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was rowboat. She was conventional.
Steam
It was a steam engine. It was still fuel oil burning boat. Love that boat. So the aft galley was like quick stuff, sandwiches, hot dogs, rice, stuff like that. Forward galley was I guess the bougie galley. It's where you get like Salisbury steak, gravy, mashed potatoes, and things like that. But we never really had anything major. They had a cold bar in the center of the forward galley where they would have lunch meats and stuff where you can make yourself a sandwich if you were on the run. But that was it. The first class mess, or the NCO mess, we had our own like hot bars in there, and junior guys that would take care of the soda machines and the food and everything. And then you had your E7 and above. They had a galley down one deck that was bougie. It was kind of basically like an officer's mess. They had cooks down there that would cook them anything they want.
Oh, but you didn't have a McDonald's.
McDonald's.
We're still running down the list of locations that you can dine aboard ship, and you're going to tell me you didn't have. Okay,
no McDonald's. George Washington.
Steaks. I'm over here jealous as hell. I don't ever remember eating a.
Yeah, how many chow halls could you go to, Vet? There was one you go to, and you're going to eat what they're serving.
The George Washington was the exact same layout: aft galley, forward galley, and that was it. And then the Carl Vinson was the exact same layout: forward galley, aft galley, and they served the exact same things on almost every damn boat.
Wow.
Yeah, I've never been on a boat there. I've heard stories. There was somebody told me, I think it was the Stennis, who's one, or maybe it was the Reagan, one of our newer boats that they quote unquote had a Starbucks on board. I preferred my coffee there was a pot in the shop, and when it was hot, I drank it.
Look, man, all you got to do is half one of those galleys you were talking about. You could put in a Starbucks and a donut shop.
You're not wrong, Joe. I think on the newer ships, though, the Stennis and the Reagan, they got rid of some of the special messing areas. So E6s, we didn't. I think they got rid of our mess area, and that would have opened up the area if those things were really available. I personally liked having those private areas to eat in, because it gave the senior guys time to go in there and talk and work evals and everything else, and not have to be in the shop where there's prying eyes or people calling or anything else. A little bit of downtime.
No, I agree. Although we didn't have special NCO mess, but if I was on post, I'd go eat wherever I want. You didn't see me typically in the chow hall.
I was on an Air Force base for a while, and they had special seating ish at their, I don't even call that a fucking galley. It was like a Ponderosa or a fucking a Golden Corral. When you go in there, they had people come get your trays for you and wipe the tables. It was fucking high class eating there.
The Ponderosa. Speaking of the Ponderosa, let's talk about some smoked macaroni. Our friend in Minnesota, Jason, smoked macaroni and cheese. Smoky Mac. Is that what we call it, Jason?
You can call it whatever you want. It's good shit.
I think I'm going to call it Smoky Mac. Let's take a look at it.
Sounds inviting.
I picked some 80s vibe music to pick up on Jason's Van Halen vibe.
Love Van Halen.
I'll remember that for your video. All right, I'm going to pause this here because there's a lot going on our list. Let it finish out. All right, talk to us, Jason. We got 1 pound of noodles, your choice. So we can use any noodle or pasta that you want, right?
Yeah, a lot of. If you want, I went with spirals. I was gonna do bow tie. I'm not a big fan of elbow noodles, so I changed it up. 3 cups of milk, heavy whipping cream. You can use whatever season you want. You want a butter, like the Bianco is a butter garlic heavy flavor, and then the Holy Cow is more of a pepper based. So I picked those two.
Well, I mean, it couldn't be a Jason dish unless it's got some meat church in it, right?
Pretty much. I actually went to the store and thought about changing it up, but I went right back to meat church. So thank you.
Don't you let peer pressure change what you're
Oh,
doing? Just
I'm
because
not
we
gonna.
pointed
I'm not
out.
gonna. I did go with the Frank's hot sauce, which is not meat church, and then this is a lot of cheese. It's a cup of 4 different flavors of cheese, and you can use whatever cheese you like. But and then a pack of bacon. So it's inexpensive stuff. This is not going to break the bank.
Well, let's take a look here. We got our great value Colby and medium cheddar. We've got a lot of cheeses going on there. Now we've got cream cheese. What are the block cheeses? We've got. Tell us what they are, Jason.
I think it's white cheddar, and I can't remember what the other one was. Yeah, I can't. It's in the list there.
Is it Monterey Jack?
Yes. Thank you.
So it's well, you're right. It's cheesy. Got some cheese going on there. And you made this in this foil pan too, right?
Yep.
All right. Actually, I do want to talk about. So the step one is we want to smoke or cook the bacon, right?
Yep. Just I threw it on the smoker and got her not quite done, but done enough. And then
very organized there. Now, is that a method that you've perfected over the years of stacking the bacon like that? I don't know that I've ever seen bacon so well organized on a pan in an oven or a smoker.
He looks like he's done that a few times.
Yeah, I mean, did it catch anybody else's attention, or was it just me?
Wow, I'm impressed.
It's artwork.
It's really good.
I just threw a whole pack in there and tried to fit it in one pan. I wasn't really consciously trying to make it look nice.
I don't know if I believe that, but I'll take your story for it. You probably rearranged that bacon 4 times and took pictures of it. And
actually, okay, I did. You're right.
Looks good though. Good job.
You have a future after your retirement.
Food staging for photographs.
Yeah.
That's a thing. Be a hand model too, maybe.
Yeah, not that.
All right, let's.
With an apron.
Why is it not moving?
So you just smoked it for a little bit and then didn't cook it all the way, you said, Jason?
I smoked it until it was not crispy, but not completely soft.
So I got what might be a dumb question. When you're doing the bacon like that on a cookie sheet or a solid bottom pan, you don't have to flip it over, do you?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Actually, I put it on tinfoil first and then just threw it in there.
You know, oven cooking bacon is pretty good. Guys, I'm having an issue with the...
I don't mind oven cooking mine either. We've got one of the little convection ovens that works real good for it. If you put it on one of our mesh screens, it lets some of that oil drip off and you get a nice crisp to it.
Yeah, y'all keep talking for a second about some bacon. Actually, doing bacon in the oven is a good idea. I've seen that done with some success. Give me a second. I need to work on this video. It's like not showing right.
So speaking of bacon, I saw one today. Somebody asked about bacon online, and they showed pictures of 4 different types of bacon. And in my mind, only one of the 3 was bacon. They had pork bacon, which is bacon. Then they have turkey bacon, which that person should be flogged. Then they had some other weird kind of bacon. He should have been shot. You ever heard of beef bacon?
No.
I have heard of it.
I've never heard it, but they were like, which is your favorite bacon? And of course, mine is real bacon.
Turkey bacon's not bad. I've had turkey bacon.
Okay, you're gonna sit here and make fun of us for wearing an apron, but you're going to admit to eating turkey bacon.
Well, wearing an apron is more of a signal you're putting out to people that look at me. I have an apron on. Turkey bacon is putting something in your mouth and just trying it. And Okay, that sounded horrible. Turkey bacon.
Not even with ketchup are you going to be able to get out of that. Not even with ketchup.
Sorry, Chase.
I dug a hole. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll get ready to say just stop.
I'm shutting up now. That was
That brings me to a point of Rodney
Anyway.
Carrington.
So, let me help you out here, buddy. So what was your internal temp when you put the bacon on?
of the bacon.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know.
the chamber.
Oh, 275.
Okay.
I just figured since I needed to get prep the grill, I mean, I was just throw the bacon on there too.
Did you keep your bacon grease?
Yes.
Sweet.
Oh, I bet that'd be good on something.
Oh yeah, I try to keep a lot of my bacon grease. It works great for all kinds of things when you're cooking. Even if you need to season your chamber on your grill, bacon grease is one of the best things to use.
Really, Ron? That sounds. I didn't know that because I keep mine, but I never thought about using it for that.
Oh, most definitely. In fact, if you look back at the very first smoke show that we ever did, when it was Vet Learning How to Smoke, I think I brought that up to.
All right, here we go. Sorry, guys. That video was corrupted somehow. I got another one in here. Okay, talk to us, Jason. What we're doing? You're mixing all the cream and the milk and ingredients into your cute little spiral pastas.
Yep. Basically, that whole list of stuff you're going to throw in a pan. It's really simple to do, and put it on the smoker. But that was 3 cups of milk, a cup of heavy whipping cream, the noodles, and I'm going to season it up. And I went really liberal with the seasoning. I've learned pastas can take a lot of seasoning, so this is going to look like a lot, but you don't. It doesn't. It really isn't. A lot of this stuff gets absorbed in it.
So that's the Blanco Meat Church. By the way, Meat Church, y'all could send me a check for as many times we talk about this on the show. But that's the Blanco Meat Church, right? And this is the Holy Cow?
Yep. So the Blanco's more of a garlic buttery base, and this is more of a pepper base, pepper and garlic and a little bit of salt.
I agree with you on that one, Jason. When it comes to pastas of any kind that you're going to season, a heavy seasoning versus a light seasoning is always better. That all that starch in that pasta sucks that seasoning up.
Yeah. If you went light, you wouldn't even taste it. I have no idea.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it's one of those fine lines, especially depending on what you're cooking with. If you're going to cook with pasta and nothing else, a heavy seasoning is always good. But if you're going to add things like meats to it, you've got to be careful because then you can really drive that salt content up and make it unedible.
So I was mixing in, throwing. I think it was a half a stick of butter, and then I followed it up with some cream cheese, which sticks to knives.
Are you going to try to talk over when your wife's laughing at you?
Yes, that's why I'm talking right now, because she's holding the camera laughing at me.
I see the point.
So that's, I think it was a cup of all 4 of those cheeses in there.
All right, what kind of plate is it? It's got a lip on it like that.
Our plates do, Joe, and we're moving on. You wear an apron.
Is that like an inconvenience, like when you're trying to get stuff?
No.
Look, I'm going to defend Jason on this one. I have plates like that too, and I absolutely love them.
Really? What's the feature that you like most about it?
When I'm cutting a nice juicy steak, it doesn't go all over the table.
Yes, I agree. That's
all right. Hang on. All right, so we're going to cook this concoction for 275 for 2 hours. While cooking, you're going to dice the bacon that's been previously smoked, and you can put it back on it about the last 15 minutes of cook time. Did I get that right?
Yep. So at about that time, I'll add the bacon in, and then I didn't put it in here, but I'm also going to put another layer of cheese on top of it, just to coat the top of it, and then mix it all up, and then kind of finish it off that way. All in all, it took 2 hours.
That's some nice knife work on the bacon there. It looks like you cut everything at a slight bias and all uniform pieces.
I used the scissors.
Okay, well, either way, it looks like it worked. But so you didn't get we're not talking crispy bacon here. You're leaving it a little flexible.
Yeah, because it's going to cook up more in the macaroni.
Okay. So, but you don't want that in there the whole time it's smoking because you don't need it at 275 for that many hours. You think it overdo the bacon?
Yes, you'll fry the bacon. It'll be way too hard. So, I maybe 20 minutes, to the end. I threw it in there. And that's stirred it up and then finished it out until it kind of deliquified. And
Now, how long did that take? Because if that's in the last 15 minutes, it's a long time between there and here.
it's probably a half hour.
Okay. So that bacon is not, that 15 minutes is not a hard time, just somewhere
No,
towards the end.
just
to
when it looks like
finish
that.
it out.
Yeah,
Okay.
when it looks like that.
So, and this is what it's done. So you scoop you some hearty mac and bacon cheese there that's smoked. How much smoke flavor are you getting into this?
Well, the macaroni is going to absorb the smoke, and I went with I'm a heavy smoke guy, so I went with hickory. And you could, between the bacon being smoked and then the macaroni being smoked, it did have not a heavy smoke taste, but just enough where you could tell it was there.
I think I might go with an oak on that instead of a hickory.
Well, what would you think?
Just a flavor profile. Again, it breaks down to some of the conversations we had on some of the prior shows, with a hickory being kind of spicy. I think maybe a more milder oaky would give it a more earthy flavor.
See, I went with hickory to kind of match the seasoning I was throwing in there with the pepper and stuff. I wanted a little more kick to it.
I can see that. I can agree with that.
You know what? I could see with both. I wouldn't think this would be something I'd want to do with mesquite. I think mesquite may be too strong.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Now, how about this? How about substituting the bacon with brisket?
Done it equally as good.
Very well.
I actually prefer bacon in this recipe. I like bacon.
Bacon's got its place. Even over brisket, bacon's got its place. Okay, now I want to bring up the obvious. I know everyone that's watching has noticed the same thing that I've noticed, and of course I've written it on the screen. But you use spiral pasta. Other than being cute and good for kids' birthday parties, is there any other reason why you use spiral pasta?
To be honest, I like the texture of it. I've always been even with Kraft macaroni. Even with Kraft macaroni, I've always liked spiral macaroni. Just my own personal preference.
I've always felt that spiral macaronis hold the sauces or the cheeses better because of the fluting on the sides.
Fluting.
Well, we got some science that just dropped in on us.
Damn. Your algorithm just went up, Joe.
I know.
That.
That had to be good for everything, big words like that.
Fluting.
So you think that it holds sauce better, cheese better, Big Ron?
I do. I do. I think the spiral context of the pasta holds it better versus an angular or a traditional elbow noodle. I don't think does as well. And if you've ever eaten pasta with, depending on the thickness of your sauce, you'll see it kind of slide off. Versus with a spiral noodle, it seems to hold a lot better.
So if you were going to make spaghetti at home, this would be a pasta that you would choose. So it would be like spirals and sauce.
It depends on what I'm making. If I'm going to make a baked ziti, yes, I would use a spiral noodle. If I'm going to make a regular pasta, depending on how my sauce is going to be when I make it, then I should make smoked pasta sauce. Depending on what kind of sauce I'm going to make, if I'm going to use linguine, I'm going to use thick noodles, flat noodles, thin noodles. It just all depends.
Okay, I get it. So we're talking, Jason. Any tips? Anybody wants to watch that video? Is everything in there they would need to be able to recreate that dish as you made it? We got the ingredients right, and we got the kind of demonstration on how to do it.
Yeah, I think the only thing is it's hard to put time, like when you're smoking stuff. You get your family going, when is it going to be done? When is it going to be done? Well, be done when it's done. It's hard to put a time on stuff. So like when you go to finish this off, just when the consistency is right. So if it's 20 minutes or if it's 45 minutes, it'll be done when it's done. But yeah, I think anybody watching this, you could follow those steps step by step and come out with the same result. And make it your own. Change up the cheeses. I was thinking about using Gouda, like a smoked Gouda, or pepper jack. It'd be interesting to try different cheeses. But
I think that Gouda sounds well. But let me ask you this: down here in Texas or the South, when they do the traditional macaroni, a baked macaroni, they'll make it up like that and get to the pretty close consistency, maybe a little wetter than your final version. Then they put it back in the oven, and I think they put breadcrumbs on it or something on the top, and they'll get a hard crust over the top of the macaroni. That might be a good way to do this dish as well. Finish it out in the oven with like breadcrumbs, Come on, John. I know you know what I'm talking about. You do too, Big Ron. This macaroni that I'm speaking of that's got the breadcrumbs on top.
I was
Baked.
actually just talking to my wife about that as you were saying it about doing a smoked macaroni and yes, adding the breadcrumbs on top for a little crunch.
It's like a baked mac and cheese.
So
Right,
I've
but
done
what,
that.
but what if you bake the mac and cheese after the mac and cheese has been smoked?
I've actually done the breadcrumbs on my first shot, and I wasn't a fan. I took them out, and maybe I did something wrong, but I just like the mac and cheese without it. I thought it turned out better. And what you guys just saw, that's my kind of my go-to for smoked mac and cheese. Yeah, like I said, I tried the breadcrumbs, not a fan. I like the more traditional mac and cheese rather than a baked, mac and cheese thing, but just my personal opinion.
Yeah, well, I think down in the South, that is the traditional mac and cheese is the baked. Because I say breadcrumbs, they put a hefty amount of cheese on top. That cheese kind of bakes in, so it's. I don't know if I like the breadcrumbs as much as I like the cheese on top, but I think maybe finishing that out might be something to think about. But
Is this the first time you made it, Jason?
No, it's my third or
Okay.
fourth, and I did top off after the picture wasn't there, but I did top it off at the end with quite a bit of cheese. Actually, it was, if you like cheese, there's a lot of cheese in here. It's very filling, very tasty.
who doesn't like cheese? Let's all be honest with ourselves. You may not like what it does to you. You may not like the fact that you have to eat it, but cheese is delicious. No one says cheese is bad. That's like there's no such thing as bad bacon. There's people that don't eat bacon, but that's not bacon's fault.
No, cheese is great, bacon's great, aprons are not.
Well, I want to commend you, man. That's another good dish. I'm kind of surprised, being all cop-like, that you're able to turn in some of these entries that you do on the Smoke Show. They're very good. What do you think, John, about this smoked macaroni?
I actually like it. I may have to try that. So it was 3 cups of milk and 1 cup of whipping cream, or 2 in 1?
It was 3 cups of milk, 2 cups of heavy whipping cream.
Oh, 3 and 2. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that.
Well, the video's there if you want to give it a shot. Might take a couple of snaps of it if you do it to see how yours turned out versus Jason's. I think if you throw that Southern style on top of it, you could edge him out.
So you used what chips again?
I went with hickory.
Okay. Huh.
Vet, what do you think about that being from Kentucky? You've had your fork into some macaroni.
He's salivating.
Well,
No, I'm
there-
sorry.
there you go.
It was Jason. That's awesome. I'm gonna have to go ahead and steal that. I'm just gonna be honest, letting you know right here, crime being committed. I'm gonna have to steal that, man, and have to do that myself. That looks so good.
That your kids will absolutely love it.
Well, how much was left?
Nothing.
Really? Dang. Okay.
No, I'm going to tell you that was a solid dish. I would say I would try to do the bake on top of it, but I don't know that would be a great improvement. You're not going to throw that in the trash. That's going to be a good tasting dish, and I'm impressed. I'm impressed that you went at it with as many cheeses that you did, and I think that played well for it.
I'm not taking away from Jason's recipe, but I just had something pop in my head. So I'm a big kielbasa fan, like with peppers and onions and stuff like that.
I always took you for a kielbasa guy.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. I may take Jason's recipe and maybe instead of the bacon, add that. Like smoke the sausage till it's almost done and then cut it up, or like cut it in sections.
Leave it in medallions or chunk it up?
Well, like maybe 3-inch sections, smoke it. And then before I mix it in with the mac and cheese, then cut it up in little slices.
What was Jason saying earlier about just put it in your mouth and see? That sounds like that's something you could do with kielbasas.
I never said that.
Yeah, you're putting words in his mouth, Joe.
I'm pretty sure this is recorded.
No, I didn't say it, Joe. Let's move on.
Jeez.
Okay, Vet. Vet was introduced into the Hasselback potato. What did you know? You said when I asked you about it, I think you said your wife already knew what it was. You were shocked that she knew what a Hasselback potato was.
Yeah, my wife, she is well versed in cooking. Like, I mean, everything that we talk about, smoking or anything, she's like, yeah, I've heard of that. I've heard of this. I've heard of this. Yeah, I've been wanting to make that. And I'm just looking at her like, geez, so this is actually a dual partnership on these Hasselback potatoes. The butter seasoning and everything she came up with herself. And, you know, we talked about how we were going to go
All right,
through
well,
the
let's hold
process.
up. Let's talk about that now. You just didn't do just a Hasselback potato. You went and made your own herb butter. Is that what am I right with that?
Oh, yes. Some chives, parsley, some cilantro, some minced garlic, and
Well, let's
to
not
stick.
mince words. Let's get into it right now. Let's take a look.
Yep.
Man, I am doing poor job on producer today. My apologies, folks.
I love the new intro.
So we got the Hasselback potato by our co-host VetLT3 on X. All right, so the first step here is making the butter. I'll do some pausing on this because I got questions. So plant butter, is that what I see? So plant butter is okay to use?
What is a plant butter?
Thank you.
Is Vet with us?
Yeah, I'm here. You cut out for a second on my end. But the butter, is that what you're talking about? Yeah, that butter I like because it has olive oil in it. Never seen it before, so I decided to pick it out and use it. So that butter
So,
has a little bit of olive oil in it.
but it doesn't have any milk in it.
No milk in it.
Okay, so you
So
like
it's
it?
vegan.
Sorry.
It's vegan.
I don't know if it's vegan or not. I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Look, man, we're not gonna beat the man up on his butter choice. I was just curious about that. Do you notice a difference in it, or is it just a family favorite for you, or is it same as any other butter?
No, first time I ever used it. Literally, the only reason why I picked it out is because it had olive oil already in it, and I was wanting to put oil into the butter mix, but I didn't know how that would mix with original butter. So I just saw that and I got it just for this. It's first time ever trying it, and I will add a little bit. I had made breakfast for the family, used that homemade butter for the eggs to cook in, and everybody was tearing it up. So it won't be the butter that my wife uses all the time, but it is a good butter to use to make your own kind of blend. I'll tell you
Okay.
that.
So what we've got here is that I'm sure that's room temperature butter, so it's kind of soft, right?
Correct, sir. Correct.
All right. So you got all your herbs chopped up. You've got your diced or your minced garlic there. You ready to go? We're going to mix this in a bowl, right?
Correct, sir. So I went ahead and started by flattening out the butter, making it, nice and soft to accept all the herbs. Then I threw it all in there and whipped it up. And that is the final product. You can put it on a plastic wrap, or what I had was wax paper,
Well,
and you
hold up.
just wrap it up.
Before you tell me what we're doing, why are we doing this? What are we doing here? You've mixed up these ingredients and you've dumped your butter out onto some looks like wax paper. So what's the whole purpose of this?
Just to have a nice container to put the butter in the fridge to harden it, for everything to just come together and be one.
So you're gonna wrap this in a roll like this, and you're gonna let it set in the refrigerator so it firms up.
Yep. So it was one of the first things I did was make that, and so it sat in the refrigerator, firmed up the entire time making the potatoes, and including warming up the smoker as well. So it sat in there for a good solid 3 hours.
Okay, talk to me about the what makes a potato a Hasselback potato is how it's cut. You scrub it clean like you're going to bake it, and then you slice it. I would say horizontally. If you're looking at the potato from skinny end to skinny end, being the north and south, and this would be east and west horizontal slices, right? But
Correct.
Tell me about how you did yours and what it is.
So you slice, like you were talking about north to south on the vertical part, you slice from north to south a little chunk off of one side so it's nice and flat, so it'll sit, so the potato won't, move. And then once you do that, a little trick I picked up was you take chopsticks, which I love. I can eat with chopsticks, and I do have my own set of chopsticks. I broke them out and I set it
I'm
in
impressed
between
with
the
your
potatoes.
virtue signaling there that you're smart enough to use chopsticks. Well played.
That's I'm a complex man. I'm an onion. I got many layers. They stink, but I've got many layers. But yeah, so I use the chopsticks to stop me from cutting all the way through the potato, because you don't want to cut all the way through. You want to make it just like the picture you're showing. You want it like almost accordion style. And so I use those to cut roughly less than a quarter, 3/16 width of slices, and you go all the way down, north to south cutting it, or actually east to west cutting it. And the chopsticks is a great way to where you don't have to go slow and guess, and every cut is the exact same.
Yeah, keep it uniform thickness on the bottom. So it's pause kind of blurry, but you can see the accordion effect that you're having there with the potatoes. So it kind of splays them open if you let it bend, and then it closes if you bring it back to potato size, where it looks like a potato.
Yep, and that's exactly what I did. And trying to figure out how to hold it properly to get all the pepper and the salt and the all-purpose Kinder seasoning in between each slice was a little learning process. I just learned to just hold it from thumb to pinky and then push up with my middle fingers to make that accordion splay out, and then just start seasoning in between.
What if you'd put it on top of something that's cylindrical?
I guess that could have worked too. I was learning on the fly. So, but once you got a hand of it, it worked fine with just your hands.
But you're able to what? So you're able to season this potato inside of the meat, unlike a normal baked potato that you can't do until it's done. Is that right?
Correct, sir. You're making sure all that seasoning, the salt, the pepper, and the all-purpose Kinders is inside each slit of the potato. So every bit of the potato bite is going to have that seasoning in it.
So we've got the Kinders, we've got salt and pepper, and that's all the dry seasoning that you put onto a potato.
Yep, that's all I put on that, since the butter had plenty of flavor, and also the finished product had some more. And all this is fresh goods. I know we were talking about when Jason bought his ingredients, how much it cost. $40, a bag of potatoes and all the ingredients, and you can make enough of these potatoes to feed at least a whole bag of potatoes worth, of people. And it was good to go. Fresh ingredients, and so yeah, just simple on the rub. But what happens next is going to be where you add all the extra little bits.
So did I hear you right? You said you shaved some off the bottom so it wouldn't roll?
I'm sorry, I broke out. I think it's my phone. What'd you say, John?
So did I hear you right? You said you shaved some off the bottom of the potato so that it wouldn't roll? Like you made a flat surface? Okay.
Yes. So north to south, if you're standing up the potato, slice it.
So let's look at these.
I meant on the bottom.
No, I don't think you shaved anything. You shaved something off the bottom of the potato?
Yeah, I shaved off the bottom of the potato. So if you took this picture, what you see here, and you stood it up north to south, right? You shave off one side just a little bit so it has a flat bottom.
Okay.
So that potato is exposed on the bottom side a little bit.
Okay. All right, I'm with you now.
Okay. So once you got them salt and peppered, it looks like you put some butter or something on top of them, and now we're on the smoker, right? What am I seeing here? Because I'm seeing more than the salt and pepper that you put on it.
So this is an hour and 15 minutes after it was set. Okay, temperature is at 225, the chamber temperature. So after an hour and 15 minutes, I went ahead and got the butter that has been sitting inside the refrigerator bonding, and I pulled this off the smoker and got the butter in between each individual slices of the potato. And then I put a nice helping of the butter, homemade butter, on top of each of them, and then set it on the smoker.
Okay.
And then,
okay, so we get some cheese on it at some point. So when are you putting that cheese on it?
Well, see, now this is where it is. So about 45 minutes after, another 45 minutes after I've already put the butter and everything on there, homemade butter, and letting all the garlic and everything just get into potato and everything. Also, we did not talk. I used applewood for this to smoke it with. So after about 45 minutes, that's when I took slices of pepper jack cheese and I applied them on top of each potato until melt. So only a few more minutes.
So now we're going to dress them up and get them ready for dinner, right?
Oh, yeah. Now it's time to make them pretty. Do that display that you were talking about people get paid for.
Okay, so what am I seeing here? I see the potatoes.
So we've got the potatoes. Yeah, we got the potatoes. I put more butter on top of the pepper jack cheese. And then, yeah, this is, I think this was.
There you are. There's your butter on top of your pepper jack cheese.
Yep, I got the butter on top of it. So a lot of butter, a lot of that homemade butter. It was good, though. It's worth it. Then after that, you take a little Fresco cheese. It comes in a block. And you crumble that up. And then you crumble it all over the potatoes. And that butter helps that Fresco cheese go on top of there and sit on top of there and doesn't fall off as easy. Then you take some sour cream, put that on there. And then some freshly cut green onions. Sprinkle that on top of there, and then serve. And it was a hit. My wife loved it.
We're getting a dollop of do you right here. So we get a dollop of the do you. So we got sour cream on top of the two cheeses, Fresco cheese, and I think what's that, pepper jack? Or what is it? Cheese you put on there?
The Fresco cheese.
No, before the Fresco.
I don't know
what did you smoke? The cheese you put on the smoker, is that pepper jack?
Yes, that's pepper jack. Yes.
So now what you get? You look like you put some onion on there. Scallions, if you're fancy.
I am having the most terrible connection. I hate this. You're asking what? I'm sorry?
The green stuff you're putting on is the scallions.
Oh, what I'm putting on there right now, those are green onions that I'm putting on there.
Okay. So it looks good. Actually, I want to back up. Did you put anything on the skins?
Well, besides the dry rub and the butter, and of course the pepper jack cheese sat on top of the skin, and then the Frisco cheese, and then the sour cream and green onions. So all the dry rub was on top and in between.
Okay,
and
but
then
that's
pretty much everything I put on there was all over it.
My question is really about the oil or fat to get the skin to crisp up. So you put the butter on there, you brushed it. Did you notice a difference in the skin? Was the skin pretty edible? Did it taste good?
Oh, the skin tasted fantastic. It was great. It had a nice crisp to it, and I think that's because of the butter melting all over the entire thing, because I knew better than just to put the butter in between the slices, but to lather the entire potato. And it had a nice crispiness to it. Not a crunch, but just a nice little crisp taste to it, and it was really good.
That is one of the things I like about a Hasselback potato is that you can. It does seem like you can get the skin crisped up to where instead of like a normal baked potato, you eat the meat out of it and throw the rest of it away. It's actually edible and it works real well. We got the range-minded. He's the goat of podcasters, even if it's the fainting goat of podcasters. Tune in and give us a comment. He said, those look good. I think it's a compliment to you, Bet LT3, on your potatoes.
Oh, well, I thank you, Range. Yeah, no, those were good. First time doing it. And I have to say, it was a hit. It's going to be a staple now. If I ever smoke, whenever I go to smoke steaks again or anything like that, or a brisket or a main course, those potatoes are going on there. So the temperature at 225 pretty much sits around where, we smoke most of the meats we cook on this show. So it's actually a perfect temp. So you can throw those on while you're cooking a brisket or a loin or whatever have you. So yeah, those are going to be my special version of what quote unquote baked potato that you put with your steak.
No, it sounds like it would be a good complement to anything. And I want to apologize to Big Ron. I couldn't get his video edited, and I hadn't really talked to you about this. But what I would rather do is not show that tonight, Big Ron. Let me get a week ahead. That way, I'm not trying to get all these edited in one day. Bruce Wayne too, but Bruce Wayne, you jumped on. Well, both of you guys did Hasselback potatoes. Yeah, Big Ron, give me your impression of them. Is that the first time that you've had one?
No, we've done them before. We do ours a little bit differently than what Vet does. I like the way he did his. You'll notice when we do mine that there's mine start off on the smoker, um, and that's just to infuse a little bit of smoke into mine, and then we only cook them for a short period of time, and then we cut and then stuff and then put back onto the smoker. So there's a couple of different recipes online if you look, and one of them does tell you to cook halfway through. We don't exactly go halfway, but we do go a little bit of time. We do an olive oil salt rub on the outer skin. Also makes it a little bit more edible towards the end.
Yeah, the olive oil and coarse salt is one of my favorites. Kosher salt on the outside is one of my favorite ways to do that. And I've got a couple of potato recipes that I can crisp that skin up as well. But Bruce Wayne, is this the first time that you've given it a shot, or have you eaten yours yet?
I just finished them, actually. They were real good. And yes, first time I made them, yep.
Well, what was your impression? Is it the way you'll prepare them in the future? Do you see a benefit in it, or is it like, yeah, whatever?
Oh, definitely I'll do them again. Yeah, they're super flavorful. I was afraid that cutting them open and cooking them like that it would be dry inside, but that was not the case. I used the right amount of butter and everything, and it turned out great. Just real crispy on the outside and just really, really soft on the inside.
Very good.
Yeah,
Very
your doctor
good.
might not like the amount of butter, but more butter, more better, right?
Well, doctors are stupid. Butter's good for you. That's my opinion. More butter. Yeah. Butter's good for you. I wouldn't eat sticks of it, but I definitely don't shy away from it.
I'd have to agree with you on that one, Bruce, because my doctor actually gave me a specific type of butter to use, and that's all we've been using.
Yes, it's a good, like, you need fat. Your brain is mostly fat. Like, fat from animals is good. It's not like the fat that they fry French fries in, like seed oils and stuff. So
Okay,
so no,
let's
I'm
go to
a
let's go back to the potato impressions, if we don't mind. John, North Carolina, you down with a Hasselback potato, or is like you don't care?
No, I am. I like that. I like the aesthetics. That's cool.
Well, I think it goes deeper than just the aesthetics, and maybe one of you guys can chime in and either say yes, or, yay, or nay on. But I think it has something to do. It also affects the flavor and the texture of a baked potato. So I kind of like it better than a traditional baked potato. Texture is one of those. But what do y'all think, Big Ron, Wayne, and Vet?
Oh, definitely affects it.
Yeah, definitely.
I guess my thing with the regular baked potato, I mean, you're baking it and then you're adding whatever it is you want to put on it. With this, you're doing all that process and then baking it into the potato while the potato is heating up. So it's kind of like infusing the potato with whatever it is you're putting on it.
Exactly, and that's why it makes the skin even the skin. You just eat it. Like Joe was saying, you don't just eat the innards and then you toss it out.
Right.
You just eat the whole entire thing. You slice it. You literally just take your fork, knife, whatever have you, slice it in between those cuts, and you just stab it and wolf it down. It's so good.
Another trick on this, guys. If you'll take this, I'm sorry, John, I know I stepped over the top of you. But if you'll take this and treat it like a traditional baked potato, you don't do it on the smoker. You smoke it and you bake it just like a normal baked potato. You'll still get the crispy skin, but then you take the knife and you're going to dress it like a baked potato. But you take the cut and you run the cut north and south and bisect the two, make it into little sections. Then you take your fingers and crush it, and it will open that thing up like a flower, so you can put your sour cream and all the other things that you want to put onto the baked potato. So it's also interesting for that.
Now, Vet, I don't know if you said, came in late, but what is the green that is smoking on top of it? Was that on it for the whole smoking process?
No, that is the after the butter has melted, that is the chives, the parsley, the cilantro, and the minced garlic that was applied an hour after baking. So an hour into the smoking, or hour and 15 minutes into the smoking, that's when a big nice helping of butter is put in between each cut, and then a nice helping on top of it, so it can all melt in, and all those fresh greens can go on top and just really smoke into the potato and the skin and everything.
Delicious. And what did you think of the smoke? Like, how much smoke flavor got infused?
Oh, I smoked it with applewood, and pretty much, the entire time, just nice. I know we don't usually like having thick clouds of smoke bellowing out of the smoker isn't, you don't have to have that to have a good smoke on a meat, but I did that for the potatoes, and the smoke flavor was great. The applewood was really good combo for the potato, and I don't think I would go with any other type of wood. I mean, like I said, I haven't tried apple or any of the other fruit woods, but I know apple it was doing great for it.
Nice. Yeah, a lot of the recipes I saw called for hickory. All I had was mesquite. But fruitwood sounds good.
And you said it was done in what, an hour 15?
Well, the first process was an hour and 15. Then after I took it off, put the homemade butter mix in between the slices and then a nice helping on top. I put it back on there for another 45 minutes. And then after that, I opened it up, threw my slices of pepper jack, closed it, waited a few more minutes until the pepper jack was melted, and then took those suckers off. I will say I will change my temperature, or not my temperature, my time. I will change my time from 45 minutes on the end to about an hour. I think it could have used a little bit more time in the heat just to make it a little bit softer. Don't get me wrong, it was good, but everybody likes that really soft potato, and it wasn't quite at the point of where I like it. So I'll definitely make it a little longer. So it'll probably be an hour 15 butter, and then another hour is what I'm going to do next time.
So what's the total time on that? Cook time, prep time? How long does it take?
Cook time is about 2 hours. I would say next time I'll do about next time I'll probably do 2 hours and about 15 minutes or so. And prep time is not long. Making the butter was like maybe 15 minutes, chopping everything up and getting the butter in there and letting it sit in the fridge, and then that's it. It's not long. It's very fast. If it's something that where you're like, you know what, I want something smoked.
Well, did you give us a time though? I heard it's not long here and didn't take long there, but what overall time? Just give me a guesstimate. How long? We're talking 3 hours?
Prep and cook time, yeah. I'll say about 3 hours.
Not bad. I think Range was asking about the temp, but we're sitting between 225 and 245, I believe is what you said, Vet. Am I wrong?
Solid 225, man. Didn't move up or down. Solid 225.
Another trick, if you're worried about a potato being not done enough after this, is that you can, prior to slicing it, you can wash it, put it in the microwave for about 4 or 5 minutes. You've got more potatoes, a little bit more, and you'll start that partial cook process that will reduce how much time you've got to keep it on the heat to get it soft. But Jason, what's your impression of Vet's hassle-backed potatoes?
I've never done it. I'm going to do it, and I think this would be a great sidekick to a steak since you're making that butter. I think that butter would be phenomenal on a steak, kind of at the end there.
It was definitely good with the breakfast this morning when I made eggs, sausage, and biscuits, and yeah, that butter was great in the pan, frying up with the eggs, and all those ingredients went well with it. So yeah, that butter, I kind of like it. It's gonna have to be a staple in a couple of things I make.
Is that garlic on the right?
Yes, minced garlic. Yep.
Okay. No, that would be. I've never done this form of potatoes before, but I like it, and I'm going to do it. And I think I'm going to do the butter too. I think that would really top off a ribeye or a New York strip.
They're actually, if you look online, there's a lot of recipes for steak butters or Krauter butter, as it's called in Germany. But there's several recipes that you could do very similar to what Vet did, mixing different things into that butter to go on top of the steak. But it is excellent, folks. That is that's our show for this evening. We'll kick up an after party here in about 10 or 15 minutes. Anybody's interested on X, we'll continue the conversation. But I want to thank all my co-hosts and all my guests tonight for the submissions they've done, the great work they've done on putting these together, and good show. I want to thank everyone for showing up, and we'll see you again. Before I do that, let me promote my show on Monday. Tomorrow, we've got Ivan Raikland that's going to be with us on the Night Court show. Going to be a great space. He's going to drop the mother of all Twitter files on us on the Night Court show tomorrow night. That's 9:00 Eastern. So if you're not following us, give us a follow and join us for that show. Tuesday's also going to be a big banging show. We've got I don't know how to describe them other than turfs. Excuse me, turfs. We've got turfs that are pretty upset about men and women's spaces, and we're gonna tackle that and see where if you vote Democrat, where that may take us, where that may end up. So it's going to be a very interesting show Monday and Tuesday and the rest of the week. So catch us on our Night Court shows, guys. Thank you.
Hello.
No.
And did you ever get any money from Maya Lansky?
I never got money from any of those fellas.
None of those
fellas. None of these that I've been reading about, or none that I knew. They never gave me anything.
None of the Chennies?
No. I don't even speak to it. I mean, I met that Charlie once or twice. I don't even talk to him.
You don't like it?
No.
Night Court with Joe Lanou, live on X.
Also known as Duck Corella.
I refuse to answer on the grounds of made intent to
You
criminate.
got any business?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of intent to criminate.
You have any profession?
I refuse to answer on the grounds of made
You
intent
have
to
any
criminate.
occupation?